Welcome back. Time to talk some track and field with Charles Crispi of the Navy track and field team. Charles got an interesting discipline. He's not going to get on the line and run down the track 100 meters in 9.89 seconds. No Usain Bolt here, but he can do something probably that Usain Bolt can't, and that's pole vault. Let's go back. Obviously, you did it well in high school too, so you've been doing it for a while. What and how did you get to be a pole vaulter?
So my brother, he was a pole vaulter.
Mhm.
He vaulted like all 4 years of high school, and he actually got pretty good without a coach. He jumped 15 feet, which is it's a good jump for a high school vaulter. And he's like, you should try this. Like it's a good way to get a full ride to college. You know, even if you don't like the sport. I was like, okay, I'll try it, and I hated it. And I was like, this is the worst event ever. It's not fun. I'm terrible at it. And I tried it again like the next year, like my freshman year of high school. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'll stick with it. And I stuck with it and worked out.
Obviously for him too. Obviously, you guys being from Staten Island, he did it at Wagner, and obviously you're doing it here. But that kind of influence to get you to do it. If not doing that, what would you have played sports in high school, or was this really a way? Hey, maybe to get you to a good education.
I probably would have tried to play football. I've been terrible at it. I mean, I'm not tall enough or big enough, so
That's all right. Hey, now look, see, we've got slot backs over here on the football team that are like 5'6". So believe me, you're plenty tall enough. We find something. We could find something for you to do. Now, I was thinking about this when I was thinking about some of the questions, and I try to get into things that maybe the person watching maybe would not know. You get a brand new pole.
Okay.
Is there anything that you do with a brand new pole to try and make yourself comfortable with it before you start competing with it, or even start practicing with it each time you get a new pole?
Absolutely. So first thing I do personally is inspect it for cracks or anything like that, because like a single like hairline fracture in the pole will cause a catastrophic failure.
And get you on YouTube probably, right?
Get you on YouTube. It'll explode in your hands. I actually happened to a vaulter yesterday. My friend Ryan Murphy,
Mm-hmm.
he broke a pole yesterday because it had a little crack at the top that he didn't see, and you don't want that to happen. And then I tape it, and then I'm like, okay, ready to go, use it.
Now, is there, we were talking beforehand, there's no real specificity in terms of length. You like, the 16-foot pole. As you start sizing up poles, what is it, that you look for before you find a pole that you feel comfortable with and start competing with?
For me, it's all about efficiency. What pole am I going to jump the highest on? Whether it be a 15-foot pole or a 16-foot pole, which one has the best return? And for me, I've been finding that the 16-foot poles have a better return for me. They launch me higher in the air.
Now, football players play on basically a football field. Turf is turf. Grass is grass.
Mhm.
But each time that you compete, whether it's indoor or outdoor, just about every pit is different. What is it about getting comfortable with the pit that you are competing at on that specific day? What do you do to try and get yourself comfortable with the runway and everything before you lock in and get ready to compete?
So the first thing I do is when we go to a track, we usually get there a day early to just get our legs fresh from the long bus ride or whatever it is. And I like to go on the runway and like have a mental picture of what it looks like, and picture myself jumping on that runway. And of course I inspect it and like look at the box or the runway, make sure there's no like I don't know, unfortunate like tears or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
But I do a lot of mental vaulting. I think in my head, I'm like, how could I jump on this runway? Like, what would it feel like? What would it look like? And that's my go-to.
Is there a certain thing or a certain target that as you're approaching the pit with the pole that you're looking, in terms of this is where I really want to boom, dig it in, and that's what I'm looking for? Or is it really just a random thing?
It's kind of like muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
I've done so many repetitions of running and dropping the pole that I know like almost exactly where I'm going to be every time. I never actually think about where I am in relation to the pit. I just count in my head. We have like a count of our steps.
Mm-hmm.
You know on what step what you're supposed to be in the positioning of the pole, and it's kind of muscle memory at this point. I don't really think about it, to be honest.
How much of it is mental, and how much of it is physical, really?
Oh, pole vaulting is very mental. There's a huge mental aspect because people will get afraid of going on longer poles, bigger poles, or the next bar goes up, a PR bar, and all of a sudden they're falling apart on the runway. They're like, oh gosh, can I do this? So I like to think that pole vault's probably 90% mental, 10% physical. It's just all about remaining focused and not getting distracted by the bar or the height or your pole, whatever it is.
Last year you had a couple of Rookie of the Week awards and stuff, and now in your second season, have you continue to make progress with your goals? Have you been satisfied with the continued progress you're making?
I'm satisfied with the progress I've made, not with the numbers I've put up, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
I'm really happy with the practice I've been putting in, the poles I've been jumping on. I've made a positive progression in poles. Like I'm on bigger poles than ever. Like I'm ready to put up a big bar. I just gotta do it in the meet. In this upcoming weekend, Patriots. I'm hoping to put up a big bar there.
I was going to say, what's the key now is, I love talking to athletes like yourself who are individuals within a team aspect. Obviously, you all are trying to win a team championship, but, in terms of what you do, how do you manage, hey, I've got to lock in on what I'm doing and maybe just support my other, vaulters, throwers, and other teammates and stuff like that. How do you kind of balance all that as you head into, obviously, the Patriot League championships?
Of course, the team winning is number one priority. And the way I can best help the team is by doing the best I could in my event. And I guess we all have that sort of understanding. But in between jumps, I'm gonna cheer my teammates. Like if I see a Navy guy running by, like I'm sure gonna get up in there and start screaming like, "Let's go!" Like Eric or whoever it is.
Sure.
And that's how I focus. I like to help people out too.
You guys have really also, Coach Cook has tried to bolster kind of a real family team-like atmosphere. I mean, you guys, men, women, all together, all focused as one, real big happy unit over there. Indoors, you get to train on one of the best facilities in the country. Outdoors, obviously, we have great facilities here as well. I'll ask you this: easier indoors or easier outdoors? Or is there a difference?
That's a tough question because I personally think indoors is easier because there's no variables. There's no wind affecting my jumping.
Sure.
There's no wind blowing the pole to the side or a headwind I'm running into. But there's also times where there's like a nice tailwind. And you'll get bigger poles than ever and you'll jump higher than ever. But I personally prefer indoors because there's no variables. I know exactly what I'm going to do every single time. There's no weather conditions, no rain.
Wesley Brown, pretty nice to compete at.
World-class facility. Best place I've competed in my life. So we're so lucky to have it.
Yeah,
it's a blessing.
That. All right, appreciate the time. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
You got it. Charles Crispi joining us here on the Navy Sports Magazine.